The Senate will come to order. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I impose a call of the Senate.
The Senate is now under call. Senator Murphy.
Good morning again, Mr. President, and thank you. I move that further proceedings under the roll call be dispensed with and that the Sergeant at Arms be instructed to bring in the absent members.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, will you be so kind as to stand? Members, in our tradition, we will have invocation, and today's chaplain is Reverend Jen Collins from Redeemer Lutheran Church in Minneapolis. As usual, following the prayer, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Greetings. Let us all pray in whichever prayer posture is comfortable with you all. Our divine Creator, this morning as we prepare our hearts and minds for the work and duties and tasks at hand, we seek to settle our bodies and ask for calm and steady and peace of mind, body, and spirit. We pray for all the leaders in this space. May there be wisdom, clarity, and assuredness in all that they do this day and in the session season as it continues. Continue to guide and lead our leaders. Thanks be to the multitude of names you are known as. Hear our prayers, spoken and unspoken. Amen.
Thanks, members. The secretary will take the roll.
Abler, Anderson, Barr, Bolden, Carlson, Champion, Coleman, Swadzinski, Dames, Dibble, Dornick, Draheim, Drazkowski, Duckworth, Diedzik, Eichhorn, Farnsworth, Fateh, Frentz, Green, Grunhagen, Gustafson, Hoschild, Herr, Hoffman, Housley, Howe, Jasinski, Johnson, Klein, Coran, Kroon, Kunish, Kupek, Lang, Latz, Liskey, Limmer, Lucero, Mann, Marty, Matthews, May Quaid, McEwen, Miller, Mitchell, Mohammed, Morrison, Murphy, Nelson, Umu Verbaten, Pappas, Pa, Port, Pratt, Putnam, Rarick, Rasmussen, Rest, Seeberger, Utke, Weber, Wiesenberg, Westland, Westrom, Wickland, Zhang.
Members, a quorum is present. The following members intend to vote from a remote location under Rule 40.7, DSIG, and Port. Members, I'd like to call your attention to a couple things. If I could make sure that anyone that's in the retired room would join us in the chambers just for a quick second. As they say, it's a quick second is usually like now. Come on forward. So hopefully those who are in the chamber are able to hear. As you know, it's been my tradition, members, to think about if there's been a series of things going on the floor, that I want to always make sure that I go back and take a look at the rules and see if there was something that was done in error or something that needs further clarification. And there's a couple things that I want to clarify so that we're all clear as to how the process will continue to go forward. And if you have any questions about my thinking about the rules, and I don't want to get into a long floor debate about it, but you can certainly, see me afterwards, or we can make time in order to go through these rules together, because I would be happy to do that. First, I want to briefly address the requirements of the rules of the Senate relating to a call of the Senate under Rule 38. So that's Rule 38, if you get a chance to look at it, and a demand for absentees under Rule 41. When the Senate was undercalled during Monday's session and a request for absentees was made during a roll call vote on Senator Draheim's amendment, Senator Miller moved to excuse members not voting from voting. And a voice vote was taken and a division was requested. I announced that the motion prevailed on 32-28 vote. After reviewing the rules and consulting with staff, I want to make it clear that future motions under these circumstances will require a majority of the whole Senate, which means at least 34 votes, pursuant to Senate Rule 38.4, is the basis for this requirement. So if you look at Rule 38.4, it says a majority of the whole Senate. So I want to make sure that that is clear, so that in the future, when that ruling happens, I would hope that you would refer back to 38.4. The second thing I want to turn your attention to is one, the acknowledgement, as we always do, is that there's an equality of members, which means every member has the same rights as any member in this body, and that we have a process. That process is that when the author of the amendment or the bill stands up and talks about it. Then we usually go to the bill author, and then we open it up for all members to speak. And you can speak, and then I usually have a running list because we sometimes ask. What I'm going to do is make sure I keep saying, hey, here's the list, here's the running list, and then once we get to the end of that list, before, in our tradition, for us to allow the author of the bill and then the author of the amendment to speak, we'll just make sure that it's really clear that no one else wants to be on the list. Because once those two last individuals speak, no one else is able to speak. Now, if you want to know the basis for that rule, if you go to why I'm making that clear and that I'm going to be much more definitive about, hey, once we get to the end of that list, is to say, is there anyone else? Because at that particular point, under Section 103 of Masons, you can go to that section if you like. It lays out the authority that's given in order to have a process, in order to make sure that the author of the amendment has the very last word. And our process is for the bill author and then the amendment author to be able to have the last word. So please take a look at those rules, because I think that it's really important that we understand, and I want to be clear that all members have an equal right to speak, and that the customs of the Synod and Mason Section 103 recognize the importance of the right of the author of the amendment to be the last member to speak on the amendment. So with that being said, I just like to make sure that we are always operating in fairness and thoughtfulness, and I just thank you for at least listening. But again, I'll say, if you have any questions about those rules or what we are going to do going forward, feel free to catch me off the floor or call, and we can schedule a meeting, because I always like to engage. With that being said, members, I am now going to go to our Senate agenda, which is dated Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. And we will start with the first, we'll begin at the second order of business, which is executive and official communications. And the following communications was received. Please make note of it, because no action is required. We'll also then proceed to the third order of business, messages from the House, and the Secretary will read the message.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the passage by the House of the following House files herewith transmitted. House file numbers 3309, 3520, 3526, and 3868. Signed, Patrick D. Murphy, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives.
And members, again, no action is required. That's just for you to take note. We'll now proceed to the fourth order of business, which is the first reading of House bills. The House files have been given their first reading and referred as indicated. Members, we'll now proceed to the fifth order of business, which is reports of committees. Senator Murphy, for a motion to adopt the committee reports.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee reports printed in the agenda and the addendum be adopted.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, we will now proceed to the sixth order of business, which is second reading of Senate bills. The Secretary will read the Senate file numbers.
Senate file numbers 3846, 4163, 3623, and 2437.
The Senate files have been given their second reading. We'll now proceed to the seventh order of business, second reading of House bills. The Secretary will read the House file numbers.
House file numbers 3377, 3466, 3646, and 3987.
The House files have been given their second reading. Thank you. We will now proceed to the eighth order of business, introduction and first reading of Senate bills. The bills listed on today's introduction calendar are given their first reading and referred as indicated. Members will now proceed to the ninth order of business, which is motions and resolutions. We will adopt the author's motion as one motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. I'll now call on individual senators for motions. Senator Ress.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File Number 41 be withdrawn from the Committee on Energy, Utilities, Environment, and Climate and returned to the author. It's my bill.
Senator Ress, it's your bill, and you've talked to both chairs? Oh, it's returned. It doesn't need it. I'm sorry about that. Senator
Turn
Ress.
to author, sir.
I got it. Thank you, Senator Ress. Senator Ress moves that Senate File Number 41 be withdrawn from the Committee on Energy, Utilities, Environment, and Climate, and return to the author. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. We'll now proceed to and recognize Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File 727 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and be referred to the Committee on Transportation. I've spoken to both chairs, Senators Klein and Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Senator Nelson moved that Senate File number 727 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on Transportation. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Bowden for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File 3344 be withdrawn from the Committee on Human Services and be referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services. This is my bill, and both chairs are in agreement.
Thank you so much, Senator Bowden. Senator Bowden moves that Senate File number 3344 be withdrawn from the Committee on Human Services and referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Morrison for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File 3561 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on State and Local Government and Veterans. Both chairs agree, and this is my bill.
Thank you, Senator Morrison. Senator Morrison moves that Senate File number 3561 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on State and Local Governments and Veterans. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File 4165 be withdrawn from the Committee on State and Local Government and Veterans and referred to the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy. This is my bill, and the chairs are in agreement.
Thank you, Senator McEwen. Senator McEwen moves that Senate File number 4165 be withdrawn from the Committee on State and Local Governments and Veterans and referred to the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Kupek.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move that Senate File 4602 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services. This is my bill, and I've talked to both chairs.
Thank you there, Senator. Senator Kupek moves that Senate File number 4602 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Kroon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate File number 4691 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety. I'm the chief author, and both chairs have approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kroon. Senator Kroon moves that Senate File number 4691 be withdrawn from the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety. On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, Senate Resolution number 81 will be referred to the Committee on Rules and Administration, and no action is required on that administrative activity. Members, we'll now move to the 13th order of business, announcements of Senate interest. Without objection, the following senators will be excused from today's session: Lang, Pappas, Disick, and Port, all day. Any other announcements of Senate interest before I call on Senator Frentz? Seeing none, Senator Frentz for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate do now adjourn until March 14th at 11 a.m.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. The Senate is now adjourned.